All right. Well, our next speaker is going to be talking to us about how and why you should build a home lab. Now, this is a fascinating topic. Tyrone's going to be talking to us about this, and I like to jokingly say that I treat my home like a small enterprise. So we've got, hundreds of devices, enterprise grade gear, because I am really, really bad at impulse control when it comes to things with blinking lights and Ethernet ports and other stuff like that. But I'm always appreciative of hearing somebody's maybe more reasoned approach to that. So Tyrone, I'm looking forward to what you're sharing with us. Tyrone comes to us with a really interesting background, former U.S. Army. So although I was Air Force, we won't hold that against you. We kind of share that common lineage there. But he's actually worked with a lot of agile organizations building cyber solutions into their procedures, and currently is head of the largest cyber meetup in the US with over 8,000 people. And managing any kind of an organization that size, loosely or otherwise, that's a huge, huge accomplishment. So we're really glad to have your perspective on this, and looking forward to hearing it. So welcome, and hopefully I'll disclaim this. I hope this talk doesn't cost everybody too much in terms of stuff you're going to want to buy for your home lab. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of top cover on that, Tyrone.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. Thank you so much for having me. How is everyone doing? I am really, really, really excited right now. I'm just going to share my screen really quick and we'll get started, right? So we have about 25 minutes. I am Tyrone Wilson, as they mentioned, CEO and founder of Cover 6 Solutions and the organizer of the DC Cybersecurity Professionals Meetup Group. I love, love, love putting out new material. I love, helping people get into the industry. It's just something that I'm quite fond of, right? 25 years in the military, 20 plus years in cyber. I know what cybersecurity or an education in cybersecurity has done for me. So I always like to spread that as much as I can. Through my mentorship, and yes, I do the whole gamut of going through the same certification processes that you all do, just so I can see what that feels like. So yes, I do have some certifications: CYSA, Network Plus, Security Plus, Pentest, not Pentest Plus, but CEH Master, because I like to be able to provide some really great mentorship so I can see what that feels like. So one of the things that I come across all the time, either talking to folks at the Meetup group or through my mentorship, is, I get this conundrum where people say, I can't get a job because I don't have any hands-on experience, and I can't get any hands-on experience because I don't have a job. Well, I am here today to try to help you all fix that, right? It's one of the things that I talk about often. There's quite a few talks on the website and on our YouTube channel about setting up labs in different environments. And, if you take a look around the internet, you'll see a few. What I'm doing right now is I'm giving you a really, really good place to start. It is our ever popular home lab setup page on the Cover 6 Solutions website. We keep this setup, this page, up to date quite often. We use it for a lot of our classes, our presentations, and what have you. So feel free to check this out whenever you get a chance. So we'll start here. A lot of the links will come from here. And having a lab at your home is really, really important for educational purposes, hands-on practice. It gives you an opportunity to, practice what, you may see in the wild. It may give you a chance to practice your soft skills, right? So you learn something, you should practice presenting what you learned to either a family member or friend, or if you want, come to the Meetup group. We'd love to have you. In fact, in June, we're having another first-time speakers series. So, and we have coaches. If you have never given a presentation, we'd love to have you. But where can you start with your home? One of the things that I like to talk about and introduce first are, of course, tools that would be free, things that you can install either on a laptop or a desktop, And you can start to get hands-on experience that way, right? A lot of the resources that I'm talking about today, we didn't have, when I was growing up, right? So this combined with, things like YouTube University, LinkedIn University, Twitter, or us, if you want to, join our Discord channel, you can do that as well. So let's talk about some of those tools, right? And I'm just going to fly through these bookmarks. Oftentimes I do demos, but we're short on time today. So we're going to go through this really, really quick. Wireshark, right? Free, you can start right here. For any network defense position, chances are, as part of the interview, they'll give you a Wireshark or a PCAP file to analyze. And, being familiar with Wireshark and having the ability to do some protocol analysis, it will really, really take you far in your career. What Wireshark does is Wireshark allows you to see what all of the devices on your network are doing. So being able to analyze different protocols, seeing what your machines are doing, and, even if you're a parent, being able to do things like detect when, your children are going to a website that they shouldn't go to, right? We always hear the line PCAP or it didn't happen. There is no way that they can say that they didn't do it because Wireshark will show you all of that. If you don't have Wireshark, there are tools that you can use, at the command line or at the terminal. TCP Dump comes pre-installed in all operating systems. So if you start to learn some TCP Dump commands, it's basically the terminal version of Wireshark. So it is the same exact thing. And again, we haven't spent any money yet, but learning this skill can take you far. If you want to install another tool, there are things like Angry IP Scanner, right? That you can use as well. So, I know we started talking about the tools, but I want to talk about a lot of the technologies that you will need to learn first. So that includes networking, right? Learning about different hardware specifications, different types of software, how to monitor your network, intrusion detection, intrusion prevention systems, all the way up to learning how to do vulnerability management, how to, take a look at and monitor things with your firewall. And then we'll even get into some SIM tools like Splunk, and even an introduction to a SIM tool like Security Unleashed. And then once you get really, really good, you can start to add more virtual machines. So let's talk about how we would do that. Again, a lot of the software is free. I would start with some virtualization software or hardware. There's two types of virtualization. There's a type 1 and a type 2. So type 1 is software that you would install directly to your hard system, right? And then your type 2 hypervisor would be extra software that you would install on top of your operating system. And that's where I'm going with this right now. So whether you have a Windows operating system, Linux operating system, or even a Mac, I have a Mac, you can use free hypervisors. A lot of people have Windows, so I like to start with Windows options, and that is the VMware Workstation Player. It's totally free. Your hypervisor essentially allows you to take the processing power in the hard drive space of your laptop or desktop, and you can run virtual operating systems inside of your laptop. So the more powerful your laptop, the more virtual machines you can run. What are some other options? So some other options are HyperV. So within Windows, it is an option that you can install. So if you have a extra server laying around, or if you would like to purchase a server and you want to install HyperV, you can, and you can run tons and tons of virtual machines on that server. I have a Mac. VMware Fusion is the way to go for Macs. You can also run VMware Fusion on Windows as well. If you have a server or a small server, which I do, I have a little Zotac box. It costs about $500. It was given to me as a gift. You can use VMware Fusion Pro. It will cost about $100 and something, but VMware Fusion Pro is what lets you connect to your server so you can easily create virtual machines, clone virtual machines, upload virtual machine images, download virtual machine images, and Fusion Pro allows me to connect my Mac directly to an external server. That way, I don't have to keep all of those virtual machines on my Mac and use all of my Mac's processing power or hard drive space. Other options you can use if you happen to run out of hard drive space. I personally like to use Google Drive, right? I believe they give you 30 gigs for free, and Google also has what's called the Google Backup and Sync. So if you're not using a image, you can upload that image to your Google Drive, pull it back down, sync it, what have you. Next up, if you want to keep going, right, to some server technology with VMware, there's also the VMware ESXi. ESXi is what is actually running on the server. So ESXi is running on my server. VMware Fusion Pro is running on my Mac. Got it? So right there is the hypervisor technologies. Another tool, right? And I got to put the disclaimer out. We may talk about some things that can possibly get you in trouble. Please, 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 please only perform, these network enumeration operations, exploitation operations that we may talk about later. Only do that on a network that you have explicit permission to do so. And this tool, IMAP, right? It is a network mapper. It allows you to identify all of the ports, all of the services, all of the operating systems that are on your current network. And that is very, very important because you cannot defend and you cannot attack a network if you don't know what's on it. So you can actually use IMAP to follow the attacker methodology, which is finding all of the hosts on the network, finding all of the ports that are running on those hosts, finding all of the services that are connected to those ports, services, also the programs that are on those ports. And then, yes, you can also use IMAP to identify vulnerabilities in certain versions of the software that are running on your operating system. And then once you get comfortable doing that, that's when it starts to pivot, right? So after you identify the vulnerabilities, if you want to go into the attacker space, then you can learn how to exploit those vulnerabilities. If you want to become a defender, then you can learn how to fix or mitigate all of those vulnerabilities. Again, I love it, love it, love it. Speaking of vulnerabilities, there are tools that you can run for free, and you can literally teach yourself some vulnerability management. One of the more popular tools, Nessus by Tenable, they give you the option to scan 16 different IP addresses for free. It's not often that you have more than 16 devices connected to your network in your home. So running Nessus would be a really, really good option. You really just need first name, last name, and an email address, and Tenable will send you a code so you can install Nessus and start using a really robust vulnerability scanner to scan all of the devices, on your home network. And yes, I scan my phone, I scan my, believe it or not, the gaming devices, my TV, I scan everything, right? Because I want to know what those services are running on the devices that I'm using. Another option is OpenVAS, right? Again, free. You can install OpenVAS with just a couple of lines, and you can get that to work on your operating system. As you start to move past your vulnerability identification, right, you will get into more of the network monitoring. And one of my favorite all-time tools is Security Onion. I talk about Security Onion quite often. There are multiple talks of me talking about using Security Onion, at home, installing Security Onion in the cloud. And also, if you wanted to start a side business, you can actually use Security Onion to monitor small networks. The reason I like it is because the the PCAP files that we had talked about earlier, you can actually upload those PCAP files into Security Onion and analyze those. So you can actually use Security Onion to watch yourself, hack yourself, and then analyze and determine what types of intrusion detection signatures would be alerted on the attacks that you're doing. So as you are installing multiple virtual machines and you are working through the attacker attack methodology, you can record all of that activity in Wireshark, save it to a PCAP file, upload that PCAP file to Security Onion, and then see at what point does Security Onion detect the different types of scanning and enumeration vulnerabilities to the attacks. So you can get a really good idea of what portion of your methodology would be detected. Moving forward to adding different virtual machines. And there's a particular order that I think you should apply, right? Microsoft will allow you to have various versions of Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. And one of the reasons for that is because they want you to test different versions of Internet Explorer, but yet you can still get a version of the Windows operating system for 90 days. And you can use this operating system to, analyze, things like the registry, the events, how to do things like adding sysinternals, right? So there's literally nothing that you can't teach yourself right now. Privilege escalation techniques, it's all here for the taking. You join a good Meetup group, nice plug, and Discord channel. There are communities out there that are doing the same thing, interested in the same thing, and willing to help you get through this all. So I would start with Windows if you aren't already using Windows. Then I would move to the Linux Ubuntu operating system. Get really, really familiar with Ubuntu. There is a website called Linux Survival, which will teach you all of the different commands in Linux. And you get comfortable with the two primary operating systems, again, all for free. Once you move up past the operating systems for the desktops, Microsoft even lets you have the server versions for 6 months. So you can learn things like how to do security policies, how to do server roles like Active Directory and IIS, and how to, create different domains, how to push those security policies to machines that have joined the domain that you just created, right? Possibilities are endless. Again, so now that you know the Windows technology, Ubuntu, Linux, and the Windows Server technology, now I think it's a good time for you to decide whether you want to do some attacks or if you want to focus more on the defensive side. If you want to start doing attacks, then a very popular operating system is the Kali Linux. You really, shouldn't just keep it at Kali, right? There are options. So the Ubuntu machine that we just talked about, you should learn how to install the tools that you would use in Kali inside of your Ubuntu instance. Also, Parrot OS is another option for a Linux operating system that is very popular. You will want a machine that you can attack. The Metasploitable machine is essentially the punching bag machine. Learn how to do the scanning and enumeration. There's over 20 different ways to exploit this machine. Definitely use that as your punching bag machine. Then there's also the Metasploitable 3, which runs on a Windows server. Well, another option to use as a punching bag machine. It will require a little bit more software, but that's the good part, right? That adventure to learning how to install something like this is really, really fun. So now we're getting to more of the practice, more of learning new techniques. One of them is how to do some web application testing. The OWASP Security Shepherd makes it really fun, kind of gamifies it, makes it like a CTF, so to speak. So you can install the OWASP Security Shepherd. Also, I'm not going to say it, I'll just call it the DVWA. But that's another operating system that you can use to teach yourself web application testing. Then there's PhoneHub, which has hundreds of purposely vulnerable machines. What you should do is you or a group of people get together, pull down one of these machines, install it, and then practice, practice learning how to attack and exploit a lot of these machines. As you start to become more advanced, then you can get into, a tool like PFsense, which will serve as, a primary firewall for your network. You can also use it as a VPN. So instead of going out and purchasing VPN services, you can literally teach yourself how to create a VPN into your network for free, right? Who wouldn't want that? It's a really, really good tool too. As we start to get into SIEMs, right? You can install Splunk in the cloud. We have a Splunk box in the cloud. Doesn't really cost that much at all. Or you can install Splunk at home. They do give you free trials. There's Splunk University. There's so many things that they can teach you. As we're learning, I have to give a shout out to the folks, Brad Duncan and his team at Malware Traffic Analysis. They do a really great job of putting, sort of real world malicious traffic into PCAP files, right? So you can practice a lot of these exercises, right? They come with quizzes as well on your own. So the latest one from February, download the PCAP, open it up in Wireshark, or even open it up and upload it to Security Onion. But it doesn't stop there. In the next couple of minutes, we'll just talk about just a couple of more educational references. TryHackMe, tons and tons of rooms on TryHackMe. You know, it's just $10 a month for a VIP membership. We have rooms that we use for class. You can try, you should try as many of the rooms that you have there. They teach you a lot of different hands-on cybersecurity techniques. Hack the Box is a really great one. You actually have to hack the website in order to get an account. So that's really great. It's similar to PhoneHub, but a lot of the machines that you attack are remote. So that is a great way to understand VPN technology and what have you. And the last couple of sites are Packet Total for, you know, analyzing PCAPs. There's the Over the Wire Linux binary exploitation game. There is another war game called Under the Wire as well, if you are getting into PowerShell. And then lastly, for the offensive-minded folks, there is the Metasploit Unleashed, which is essentially a free website that teaches you all of the different techniques in the Metasploit framework. So with that being said, you know, I am at our time. You know, we do have a list of some really good tutorials on our YouTube channel, on the Cover 6 Solutions YouTube channel. You know, we'd love it. You know, if you like and subscribe to us, we create different playlists for you, and we will start adding, you know, the home lab setup playlist, which will walk through a lot of the technologies that we talked about and have step-by-step instructions on how to install all of these different operating systems. So with that being said, again, I am Tyrone E. Wilson, CEO and founder of Cover 6 Solutions. I want to thank the SANS organization for having me again. I am at TyWilson21 on all social media platforms, and I will also be on the Slack channel for a little bit to answer any questions you may have. So thank you all for having me. You know, I look forward to speaking again, and I look forward to seeing what you all accomplish in the future and hearing about it.